So, Debbie, you're kind of the queen of DBT, and you've been in recovery from BPD. And I would love to know just how you experienced these skills and what changes did you notice they made in your life?
Well, first of all, thank you, Catherine. I do feel honored when our students call me Mini Linny, like Minnie Linehan, who Dr. Linehan's the creator of DBT Skills. I have to say that at the beginning of my DBT Skills journey, and I know we see this sometimes with our students as well, I felt skeptical because the skills just seemed too easy to work. Too simple to work. They weren't actually easy when you start to dive into them and practice them, but they seemed too simple. And I also had this roadblock of feeling kind of angry and resentful that I didn't learn these skills growing up. And then here I was as an adult sitting in a room with a group of adults who also didn't have these skills. And it's like, so I had to move through that for sure, to just basically, I made a deal with myself to give it a little bit of time and to not give up and to see if I saw an impact. I think it was like a few months or 6 months or something like that. And I'm so glad that I did that and stuck with it, because as I began to learn the skills, and when I had that willingness to push through the anger and the resentment and to push through the skepticism, I started to actually notice real changes, starting with my own inner self feeling calmer and feeling more grounded in situations that previously would have derailed me. And it didn't happen right away, and it didn't happen like total transformation overnight, but even those little increments of progress were just so encouraging. And to just have a little bit of relief from the suffering that I experienced really motivated me to keep going and see what was possible. And then to see the impact of just little tweaks on the way I communicated, or things I kept to myself versus things that I expressed, or the level of intensity with which I express certain things, to see the impact of that on relationships with my then partner at the time, with a friend, in the workplace. It was just like, whoa, this stuff works. I'm having less conflict. I'm feeling less anxious. Ultimately, my suffering was reducing, and I was able to be more present in my life, more available to the relationships I was in. And this just continued to grow over time to the point of recovery and to the point in my life today where I still actually use the skills. They're more intuitive now, whereas before I would carry around a binder for a long time in my car, and I had one at home, and it would have all the worksheets. And I encourage our students to do that too, as nerdy as it might sound. I can just remember like coming out of a grocery store one time, going into the parking lot, and I was really frazzled by what had just happened. Not driving off, but pulling out my binder and seeing like, how can I ground myself right now? Like, what skills do I need to use? How can I like get through this intense emotion before I get on the road, so I'm driving safely and not in a dysregulated state? And like these days, I'll sense a cue, because I've been practicing for so long, of maybe I need to check the facts on that. That's a DBT skill. Or maybe I need to address this differently. And so the skills, even 10, 12 years later, are continuing to be a part of my life in terms of coping as an emotionally sensitive person in the world.